Low energy, unfocused, foggy? You might be dehydrated. Whether it's hot yoga, over 100-degree weather, or too much sun. Gatorlight, with a specialized blend of 5 electrolytes, was scientifically designed to help move fluids into the body faster for rapid rehydration. Shop now at retailers nationwide. Gatorlight hydrates faster than water. Is it in you? Symptoms noted are signs of mild to moderate dehydration. Consult a healthcare professional if symptoms persist.
This episode is brought to you by PayPal. You had plans for the last days of summer. And back-to-school shopping has its own plans. School supplies, dorm essentials, your list doesn't stop. Neither does the spending. But when you pay in full with PayPal, you can pay over time. No interest, no fees. Check out with PayPal and get back to summer. Subject to approval. Learn more at paypal.com/payinfor. PayPal Inc. NMLS 910457.
The new LinkedIn Hiring Pro can't undo your last hire, the no-show. Who set you back because they didn't show up on day 1, or day 2, or ever again. And now your product launch is delayed because you're talking to alien abduction podcasters to track them down. But LinkedIn Hiring Pro can help make sure your next hire sticks. In fact, businesses who use LinkedIn are 24% less likely to reopen a role in the next 12 months. Hire right the first time with LinkedIn Hiring Pro. Post a free job today at linkedin.com/quality.
From the Fifth Quarter Studio in Madison, Wisconsin, you're listening to the Coaching Youth Hoops Podcast.
They're playing
Basketball. Here's our hosts, Steve Collins, and Bill Flitter.
I was going to say that now and we might have mentioned this in the last podcast, where it's like, okay, you got to work on your rotate, you got to work on something. A kid will take 3 shots, and then how does it look? Well,
right.
Okay, tell me in 997, and now you've got 1,000 shots, and then we can or 5. So I think they just have this expectation for immediate gratification, which scrolling does for you. It gets you those hits that make you, but they're short-lived, and improvement is not short. It is long, and it's arduous, and it's tough, and it's filled with setbacks, plateaus.
It's not linear, right? It's not linear, right? So you don't grow, just because you put the time in doesn't mean you're going to grow. You could actually go backwards some and then make, you do 3x leaps, right? On the next round. So, especially now in that was a great way of saying it, especially if you think about an AAU program, right? You're paying $2,000 for an AAU program for a season, right? Or a year, or however you want to explain it. But the parent is paying, $2,000. Well, if I pay for anything, I expect a return, right? And a lot of parents think this is a transaction. It's not a transaction, and the brain development and the physical development might not be there for your child during that season, right? And it could be delayed. So thinking about growth is, okay, I paid you this money, you're practicing X, you're turning up for tournaments, so I expect Y back. It doesn't work that way. And I think that we have to get out of that mindset.
To that, it is, and this is probably as much for parents as it is maybe for a coach to communicate it. In my opinion, and from my experience, that, and now having a son who's playing basketball and who's 10, going to be 11 soon, I'm investing in his experience with the game of basketball. Mm-hmm. That's where my investment is, so that he improves, so that he can enjoy the game more. Not investing for some outcome 4 years from now that he or she is going to be a college basketball player. Yeah. Because that is uncontrollable. Where the experience of becoming better, and now I enjoy the game more because I am seeing improvement. Well, that's going to lead my son or anybody's son or daughter in a path that potentially moves them towards improvement. And then if that improvement ends up with the result of a college or, a college career, then that's fantastic. But if you put that in the front, that's why you're putting all this money, and you're not thinking about their current experience, but you're thinking about some outcome. I mean, it's what we tell our players all the time, like at Akalani, is that you don't want to get connected to your outcomes. You want to connect yourself to the process. I cannot connect myself to the outcomes because a lot of times I don't have full control over that outcome, but I have full control over the process. People have heard attitude, effort. They're the only things that you can really control. So I think the investment, yes, you're investing, but let's just think in terms of investing so they enjoy the sport more. Then let the sport and their talent and their improvement take them somewhere. Otherwise, I think it's just you're setting yourself up for disappointment and failure when you connect too much with the outcomes. And that could be with a shot. Just let the shot fly. It feels good coming off your hand. If it goes in, it goes in. If it doesn't, it doesn't. If it aligns with the coach's idea of what a good shot is, what a great shot is. If you miss it, and that's to the youth coach also. Like when you see kids miss a layup and go, "Oh my gosh," or miss a shot and have some response that you can see, that kid is connecting themselves to the outcome.
Yeah.
And that's last play. That's not next play speed. So I think all of it is connected, and even going back to where is the kid different? Like you can't hack improvement. There's no hack, there's no shortcuts, there's no it's just time, effort, and it's important that the kids are got a smile on their face, and they're learning to find the joy in the game and in the process. And if we spend too much time on the results and the outcomes, then it's harder to find the joy. And
absolutely,
and
it's also the comparison, right? One child versus another, right? You're on a team, so you're seeing how the other players are, and like as we said before, growth is not a linear thing. So you can't compare your child to someone else's. There's multiple reasons why, right? In the development of their brain, their physical ability, etc. They grow in spurts, and both physically and mentally. So it's hard. I get it. It's really, really hard as a parent sitting in the stands, and because you want nothing but the best for your child. And
yes,
and then but anyway, it's hard. It's easier for me to say that, but it's hard.
Well, and I think that the beauty of your podcasts and podcasts in general is that you can just go down these paths that you weren't really intending to go down, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's your greatest find in the podcast, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I've coached for so many years without a child. I'm older. I'm 63 years old, but I have young kids. And so the majority of my career was not with a child that's playing basketball. And so if you're a young coach and you're doing this and you don't have children, you cannot understand how hard it is to be a parent as you watch your child play. And that's what I'm learning that now. And it's helping me as a coach that it is hard. Parenting is hard, sitting there and watching your son or daughter play the sport, be subject to decisions that a coach is making, being taken out, being not played. You name it. So and let's go back. The parent is in, the grandparent, whomever it is, the guardian is in that boat and is part of the process of rowing the oar. To disclude them and be like, I'm not talking to parents, or it
Yes,
really
that's
is
right.
not.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't think it's. I hate the word fair. Anytime my kids ever say fair, it's, I'm trying to eliminate that word from their language. Um, but I think you have to include the parent. There
Yeah.
has to be a parent has to feel like they have a pathway to the coach. And sometimes it's the best person that you could ask. Like you said, sometimes you'll include a
Yeah.
parent. Nobody knows your player better than their parent in most cases. So just having some ideology that I'm not going to include a parent in any of it is just you're taking what might be the best person that you could ask to figure out how to better coach that person. Then and so yeah, I mean you have to have parameters and there has to be boundaries
Correct.
and
Right.
yeah, it would be nice and easy if we could just put blinders up and just. But I think at the end of the day, you're probably hurting the kid, you're hurting the player.
Yeah, no, no, that's absolutely right. And I think I've had situations where a parent would approach me with a situation that was going on in their family, and it made a lot more sense of how their child
Yep,
was reacting on the court, right? And again, I
yep,
don't expect them to share every little thing, but this wasn't a little thing, it was a big thing, right? And I don't want to contribute to that. I want to have that in the back of my brain, right? I want to push them. I don't want to treat them any too much different, but I want to have a little bit more empathy and understanding of maybe, they just don't have it today because of this situation. It's
right,
a balancing act, but it's
right,
something you got to put in part of the algorithm of how you, right, that spits out how you're going to coach the team and
yeah,
that particular
yes,
player. So again, you can't, a lot of kids come, and I hear this a lot, especially from the older girls that I coach, is this is my escape, right? This is my happy place. I come, I get to hang out with my friends, we play, and this is my happy place for the hour and a half each practice. So, um, let's talk about, you talked about earlier on, because I think this is such an important subject. You talked about defining wins and losses. And I look at them one way, and I'm curious, how do you define a win and a loss? Especially in the culture that we live today, well, do you feel as a coach that you're pressured to win, and has that changed over the years as well? And win in the scorebook, that is, right?
um, yeah. I mean, I don't know if I would say the word pressured, but it also it's consistent with I want this now. I want this, yesterday. I want this improvement to happen right away. Yeah, I think there's some. Um, I think maybe my experience as a coach and working towards improving and building that it's sometimes slower than what you may want it to be.
Mm,
So
mm, mhm.
I think the pressure is just is to have come quicker. Um, and but I I think that winning and losing it's important to strive for winning. I think there's a scoreboard you want to win, and that's there's nothing wrong with that, but it cannot lead. It can't be your lead. I think your lead has to
Mm,
be your values. Your lead has to be the things that are important that are going to transcend a scoreboard. Um, because the scoreboard's going to end, but we spend so much time with them that it's important to get them to. This goes back to sort of that process driven mentality. Because the scoreboard, the grade, the GPA, those are two very consistent things that are very similar. They're going to end at some point. And then what you're left with is what type of person are you? What type of teammate are you? What type of boss, what type of coworker are you going to be? I mean, so those things can't be determined by a scoreboard, by winning or losing. And ultimately, that's what we're doing as a coach. I mean, it's transformational. I like to think of myself as attempting to become better and better and better at being a transformational coach, and somebody that we're changing people and trying to help them develop into the best version of a man, the best version of a woman that they can be when they're done playing, and they can draw back from experience. So I just was meeting with a player with exit interviews, talking with players now that for next season that are returning players. And, maybe this is more for the high school coach. But in 20 years when they gather, they're not going to be able to say what their record was. No. Like our record was 22-7 this past season. We were 11-1. I think in 20 years, they're not going to be able to say 22-7 and 11-1. But what they are going to talk about is the guys and the locker room and the dinners they had together, and the experience of just being on a team.
Yeah, and coach, so right? They're going to say, "Hey, coach, what's the feeling? What's the feeling you gave them?" Right?
Yes. So, and I think this connects to where a question you asked earlier about how is it different? Okay.
Yeah.
5 years ago, not even pandemic. 5 years ago, there wasn't a transfer portal. 5 years ago, there was not, like this year, where on the first day that it opened up, there were 1,200 students that had jumped into the portal. Okay. That is it all, it all seeps down. And the thing that's the NBA and high school basketball, that's apples and oranges. Right.
Yeah.
College basketball and high school basketball are very much alike, are very similar. It's the closest thing. And so now when you have kids that are going to be transferring, it becomes very easy, or without even knowing it, you feel like I have to win, because if I don't win, the kid's going to transfer, or feeling like I have to make decisions to people and not decisions to your values as a coach. Because once you start making decisions based on a parent or on a kid, hopefully this kid's not going to transfer, so you coach them in a certain way. Well, now you're going away from the values of be a great teammate, be a great listener, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And once you start going to people are going to change as the wind changes sometimes, but you got to be rooted in something. And so, winning, losing is taking on a different meaning, because I want to go where they're winning. I want to go where they're already winning. I don't want to just help build something. I want to. So it is it's a different animal now because of this transfer and how much that's happening in college. We have to be ready for it at the high school, and it happens. It's already happening.
It's already happening. Yes, exactly. It's coming.
It's probably happening more now than it did 10 years ago. So, and that becomes harder. And even for myself, as I look at myself, as I'm moving forward, and all these years, I'm looking at some recalibration of coaching and making sure that I'm not drifting away from my values and moving towards winning as the most important. Like here at Akalani's, we hadn't won a league championship in 18 seasons, 18 years, 2007. And I'm so proud of the fact that this group has won a league championship and has set us on a different course. But I can't go down this course and be true to my players, the program, the game, if I start moving and thinking, well, it's more the winning than it is about these values, because the values are things that you're rooted. Those are the things that will ground you. And over time, and if you invest into yourself as a coach and in your improvement, your values are probably not going to be illegally recruiting and treating players poorly,
Yeah.
right? That's not
Yeah.
going to be your values. Your values are going to be rooted in what transcends the game and what makes them better people. So just stick to the things that make them better people, and over time, good will happen, and you'll feel your pillow will be a whole lot softer when you put it on.
Right.
Put your head on it at nighttime, because you're teaching to values that are important for the human, not just the basketball player.
Well, what systems or whatever you want to call it have you put into place so that players know that they're valued? They're not just, contributing their athleticism to the program.
Yeah, I think it's time talking to the players, reiterating importance. Sometimes it's coaching the kids that maybe aren't playing that much, coaching them hard at times, so that they know that they're not just being forgotten about, or their value isn't there. I think it's time and communication that is the greatest system that you can have to know that everybody has a value on a team.
Yeah. It's funny. I was one of the things that, it's like, as a coach, like you, I'm always trying to improve. I overthink about, am I teaching them the right things? Oh my gosh, we laid an egg in this game. I blame it on me, like, because I wasn't prepared, so I didn't prepare them, right? But I had this moment the other day with with a couple of the players when I knew that, that stuff doesn't matter. What matters is, how am I as a coach and overall, and what experience are they getting out of it? And I knew that I crossed this, uh, uh, I guess, threshold with them of when they invited me into their world. And what I mean by that is they pulled me aside and said, "Coach, will you do a TikTok with us?" And I'm like, and at first I was like, I hesitated. Then in the back of my head, I remembered everything I told them. Hey, you got to push yourself outside your comfort zone. You're right. And that, I'm like, I got to listen to my own advice here.
Yep.
So I said yes. And they're like, we'll teach you the dance real quick. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm thinking, I'm not saying this out loud, but in my head, I'm like, oh my gosh, what did I get myself into here? And they're going to teach me this dance, and I'm an awful dancer, right? All these things are going, I'm never going to remember what I'm supposed to do. And, but I did it. And I was at that moment, I just realized, like, oh, wow, they just invited me into their world. That's huge, right? And I don't say that to pat myself on the back. I say that to, that's that's a win to me, right? That's a huge win that I've done something positive and changed in their life. And anyway, that's, it was outside of the, wins and losses in a basketball game. So.
Low energy, unfocused, foggy? You might be dehydrated. Gatorade Zero powders have been scientifically designed to help improve hydration balance in the body. With a clinically proven electrolyte blend and no artificial colors or flavors. Great tasting hydration no matter where you're going. Shop now online or at retailers nationwide. Gatorade hydrates better than water. Is it in you? Symptoms noted are signs of mild to moderate dehydration. Consult a healthcare professional if symptoms persist.
This episode is brought to you by PayPal. You had plans for the last days of summer. And back-to-school shopping has its own plans. School supplies, dorm essentials, your list doesn't stop. Neither does the spending. But when you pay in full with PayPal, you can pay over time. No interest, no fees. Check out with PayPal and get back to summer. Subject to approval. Learn more at paypal.com/payinfor. PayPal Inc. NMLS 910457.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I'm curious, kind of the last question here. Again, coaching a long time. How and let's get into the X's and O's. You probably seen the game kind of evolve over the last 30 years. Where has it gone in the last 30 years of what you're teaching now versus what you were teaching then? What are some old thinking that we just have to get rid of because it's old thinking and this is the new, this is the new quote unquote basketball?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. How do we, what do we no longer want to potentially teach that have been teaching early on?
Yeah.
Is that kind of where
like versus now
what you're
versus
asking?
30, versus now versus 30 years ago.
I think one thing that, and it's maybe not just necessarily X and O in the, because I don't think there's a lot of, basketball is spacing, timing, and angles.
Yeah.
Slice it any way you want to slice it. That's what basketball is. Timing, spacing, angles. That's what you're teaching. That's what you're working on. I think that I think coaches have given up some control in the way the game is played, either with the speed of the game, the pace of the game. So I think that I don't know if we do how much service we're doing for a kid if we are controlling every possession, calling plays every time.
Yeah.
Because then you're kind of teaching the play rather than teaching them how to play.
That's right.
So yeah. I do feel like the game has opened up. Please, no one ever come to me and say Steph Curry's hurt the game. Steph Curry has not hurt the game of basketball because of his ability to shoot the three. Yeah. That I would agree with Bobby Knight. If you're letting your kids take bad shots, that's your fault. That's not Steph Curry's fault. Like if you're going to look at Steph Curry and say he somehow has affected, that is a guy that just watch Steph Curry just watch him. He's never out of balance. He's never complaining. He plays with a smile on his face.
Yeah.
But the 3-point line has changed the concept of shot selection, and that's a long time too. That 3-point line's been there for quite some time. So I think back to your point. I think that I was more controlling of possessions early in my career, and I'm less controlling now. And I think the game is played at a little bit of a faster pace. So there's a few maybe more mistakes that are going to happen. So you got to be okay with some turnovers. I don't think you can, it's a game of mistakes. So, but yeah, I think it's just a little bit of a faster paced game now as I'm teaching it than I would have taught it 25 years ago.
Yeah, that totally makes sense, and I love the way you summed that up. Because it's so true
about
Oh, sorry. The game is about timing, spacing, and angles. I mean, it is, and if you can teach that, and you have that lens over the top of the game, it's going to help you be a better coach and teach the game a lot better. All right, last question before we wrap this up. All right, we got a lot of coaches listening. You have a ton of experience. They're all leaning forward, waiting for the last words of wisdom. Okay, so what is that? Yeah. And we're going to make this really simple, hopefully. Well, actually, it's harder on you, simpler for us as the listener. What is that one piece of advice you're going to give to a first-year high school coach, a dad that's coaching his grade school kid? Because you can approach it now from both perspectives. So what is that one just piece of advice you would give all of us coaches? Oh, I stumped him. He's thinking now. I love it.
For the new coach, for the inexperienced coach, I think the greatest service you can do for your players is to take the time to have an organized practice plan so that you can lean on that plan, whatever it is. Just be confident about what it is going to teach that particular day. Because if you have a lack of experience, then the only thing you have to do is whatever your preparation is. And those players deserve a coach that is prepared.
Yeah.
And so I would say that is that. And there's so many resources today. That's one where the game is so much different. When I started coaching, there wasn't YouTube. There wasn't the ability to just go and put, zone offense and then have all these things that are there available to you. So now it's almost inexcusable to not be prepared coming in to a practice because you have, you've got the resources to put it together. It's just your wherewithal to be able to put it together and make sure it's organized. And that's where get somebody to help you. If you're a new coach at a CYO level or AAU, find that high school coach in your area or find a coach and ask him or her to help you. Hey, take a look at this. Do what we're doing right now in a podcast forum by just, hey, can you sit down for a half hour, for an hour? Not many people that I know that would say, nope, I don't have time. Nope. We have time. It's our responsibility as an experienced coach to grow the game.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I think if I may just add to that, to the experienced coach or to the coach that's done it for 5 years or more, right, that the two things that I would want them to be, leaning forward and listening to is one, teach and coach to whom the player can be, not coach to who the player is. You have to coach to who this kid could potentially be. And you got to be fair about it. You got to be reasonable about where they can go and how much time you have with them. But coach to the potential. Coach to the inside. Every kid, inside every person is a better version. And in so many cases, it's just dormant because they haven't had the right person to bring it out. But man, there is a difference between teaching and critiquing. Like, don't be that coach that critiques his team or her team. Like, anybody can critique what they're doing. Figure out a way to teach it so that you can pull out that better version. And the second thing would be teach intentionality, teach intention. Help your players learn that they have to come in. Well, I put it this way to our kids when they come in for open gym. When you leave the gym today, you're either going to be better or you're going to be worse. You do not leave the gym neutral. So you have your kids for a certain period of time. When they leave and walk out of that gym, they're either better or they're a little bit worse. So how do you determine that they can be better? Intention. There has to be a focus on helping them be intentional about the work that they need to do, and then you as a coach being intentional about what you're going to teach that given day, and not just be, well, they're here and they're working and they're sweating and they're running. They might be going in the opposite direction of improvement because it lacks intention. So the most inexperienced coach, get that mentor, get that high school coach to help you do whatever, put 10 minutes or 15 minutes into figuring out the drills and the YouTube, and then a half hour into making sure it's a good plan. Put more time into your practice plan than actually what you're going to be teaching within it. That experienced coach to that player that's in there, coach to that dormant version that is just waiting for somebody to help bring it out, and coach with intention and help your players be intentional about their improvement. And good will happen. Good will happen.
Well, and you're setting me up for a great plug for you. If you made it this far and you're a youth coach, and we got practice plans all done for you. So go to coachingyouthhoops.com, and all you got to do is download links to videos. And it's all planned, a whole season planned out for you. So you're absolutely right. It's not a shortage of resources; it's a shortage of organization, and that's what we always talk about here. So. Coach, this has been absolutely amazing. I appreciate you coming back and sharing your wisdom with us, and again, just being a giver and doing what you're doing for the kids is absolutely amazing. And honestly, to be doing it for 30 years, did you ever think that would be 30 years of coaching?
Yeah, no, but it's 30 years feeling like it's year one. Like it's just, I
So
think,
true.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm so excited to keep learning. So be a lifelong learner and coach with a ego that doesn't get in the way. And it's amazing where we can learn.
Yeah. No,
We just,
absolutely.
if you have the eyes of a learner, then you'll find it.
Yes. Well,
So thanks for having me
let's,
on the show.
yeah.
I
Oh my
appreciate it.
gosh,
Appreciate what you're
absolutely.
doing.
We'll have you back on when you win your second conference and a state title
Got
next
it.
in
You got it.
2026, right? Coming up. So
You got it.
no pressure, coach. No pressure. All
Well,
right.
no pressure. Okay, thank you very
All
much
right.
for
Thank
having
you,
me. And
coach. All right.
if anybody needs any information, they can reach out.
And
I'm willing to help anybody that needs some.
yeah, tell us where they can find you, and we'll put it in the show notes as well.
Yeah, you can email me at billpowers2023@gmail.com, and
Perfect.
I will respond. And if there's something I can provide to help, I'm more than willing to do it.
All right, coach. Till next time, we'll keep on doing what you're doing. We
Yeah,
appreciate you.